We have some big news that's breaking at this hour. Jordan Schultz reporting that Geno Smith and the Seahawks are finalizing a 3-year contract extension worth $105 million with the ability to earn $52 million in the first calendar year. Smith earned Comeback Player of the Year and Pro Bowl honors after leading the NFL in completion percentage. And what a story for Geno Smith. After all these years, he finally gets paid. They wrote him off, but he didn't write back. We're going to have a lot more news and rumors to discuss coming up on today's show. Welcome in to NFL Daily. I am Will Scott. We are a week from NFL free agency, and we are starting to hear a lot of news, and we just have this news that's breaking at this hour from Ian Rappaport saying the Raiders have officially franchise tagged running back Josh Jacobs. So that is official. We knew it was coming, but now we know that the tag has been placed on Jacobs less than 24 hours before the franchise tag deadline tomorrow, and Jacobs is coming off a career year. Remember, last offseason, the Raiders chose not to pick up his fifth-year option, which was probably a mistake because he led the league in rushing this past year, over 1,600 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, 12 touchdowns. Jacobs was phenomenal. Had this guy become a free agent, there would have been a lot of interest around the league for sure. So the Raiders have made it clear the last couple of weeks that they want to keep Jacobs in Vegas for the long haul, and they have locked him up for the next year, placing the tag on him. We'll see if contract talks happen and there's an extension that maybe happens before the start of the season. His former teammate, Derek Carr, just found a new home this morning, I should say. The news became official. The former Raiders quarterback is signing with the New Orleans Saints. DC's announced the news. The Saints have announced the news. So that is official. And yesterday, if you remember, there was that report that the Jets appeared to be the clear frontrunner for Derek Carr, that he was leaning New York, and I think the Saints kind of got wind of that and made an effort today to lock him up. They have given him a 4-year deal worth $150 million, including $100 million guaranteed. I think this is a slam dunk signing by the Saints. They really needed to address the quarterback position this offseason. They do not have, I should say they have a first-round pick, but it's a much later first-round pick. They couldn't have gone up probably and gotten a guy like Young, Stroud, or Richardson. So they did the right thing, getting a really good, in my opinion at least, a really good quarterback in the building in Derek Carr. And guys, we're going to have you covered with NFL free agency news really this entire month and going forward. I mean, there's going to be a lot of news that breaks. We're going to continue to get you guys nonstop videos. So hit that subscribe button below if you want to stay in the loop with NFL news and rumors. Taking a look at the numbers from Carr, the last couple of seasons, signed that extension with the Raiders after last season, but the Raiders kind of had an out and decided to take it, cutting him a few weeks ago, preventing $40 million guaranteed for this next year. He did have 24 touchdowns, 14 interceptions this past year, and what was a pretty disappointing season for Vegas. Came in with high expectations after making the playoffs in 2021, but did not make the playoffs this past season. Taking a look at the new look Saints offense, I mean, this is really solid. Derek Carr is going to be QB1. Kamara is your top running back. We'll see what they do with Michael Thomas. I mean, he's owed a lot of money the next few seasons, so they might look to move on from him. Chris Olave was one of the best rookies in all of football this past year, and then Taysom Hill. I mean, I was like, what position do I put him as? Because he does a lot of different things. But Taysom Hill obviously going to be heavily involved with the Saints offense next season as well. Now, grade the Derek Carr signing by the New Orleans Saints. Type A, B, C, D, or F down in the comments. Go down. Let me know, what do you think of Derek Carr getting signed by the Saints? I'm going to give it an A-. I think it's a really, really good move here from New Orleans. And when you're looking at this from Derek Carr's perspective, if he would have gone to New York, that would have been a pretty tough division. He goes to the NFC South, and this makes the Saints the favorites in the NFC South, in my opinion. Make no mistake. You look at Tampa Bay, what are they going to do? Probably Kyle Trask When you look at Atlanta, if they don't trade for Lamar, Carolina, maybe Jimmy G to Carolina, I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But right now, at least, this move certainly makes New Orleans the favorites in the NFC South, and it's really not even close. I think the Saints are clearly the favorites in that division right now. And because Derek Carr has finally found a new home, we're going to talk about the next QB dominoes here. Starting with Aaron Rodgers, and I think we're going to see some more dominoes fall. And now that Derek Carr has found a home, maybe Aaron Rodgers will soon make a decision. And the Raiders and Jets appear to be the favorites in a trade if Rodgers leaves Green Bay. Those have been the two teams heavily linked here. There really hasn't been a third team that has been linked in a trade. But if the Jets fail to land Rodgers, this could turn into a nightmare because I feel like Derek Carr was getting a little bit frustrated with the Jets because he probably thought he was a backup plan in New York, right? New York was waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers would do. They could have locked up Derek Carr. They didn't. Carr says, okay, I'm going to go to New Orleans. So if Rodgers goes back to Green Bay or retires or goes to Vegas, this could be a nightmare situation for the Jets. And I don't know, they might have to run it back with Zach Wilson, a quarterback. I don't think that's going to happen. But, maybe Jimmy G. But that'd be pretty disappointing for the Jets if you think you're going to get Rodgers or Carr and you end up getting a Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not disappointing is the St. Patrick's Day gear that's on sale right now at chatsports.com/NFL Green. Pretty much every single team has St. Patrick's gear on sale right now. I don't know about y'all. I don't have a lot of green shirts, and I'm like, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. I don't want to get pinched for not wearing green on St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to a parade and a party this weekend, so I need some gear. So I went to chatsports.com/NFL Green, got a great deal. You can do the same. Chatsports.com/NFL Green. That link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Going back to Rodgers, Dov Kleiman tweeting this out from the Rich Eisen show. It's worth noting that it's not from Dov, it's from the Rich Eisen show. The Packers are hoping that QB Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to return to Green Bay, according to Rich Eisen, who said he heard it over and over again in Indianapolis. They are ready to move on and perhaps turn to Jordan Love to be their franchise quarterback. So I want to hear from y'all down in the comments. Where does Rodgers go? Does he stay in Green Bay? Type GB. Does he go to the Jets? Pull a Brett Favre. Type NYJ. Does he go to the Raiders? Type LV or something else, somewhere else, maybe retirement. Type O for other down in the comments section. I think he's going to go to Vegas. I'm going to type LV for the Las Vegas Raiders here. Number 2 on the next quarterback, it could be a domino effect from Carr, is Lamar Jackson from the Baltimore Ravens. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler is reporting that the Ravens could use the non-exclusive franchise tag on quarterback Lamar Jackson. Here is the exact quote. While the Ravens haven't officially made a decision leading up to the deadline, several league executives now believe the non-exclusive tag, which allows teams to offer Jackson a contract that Baltimore can either match or decline in exchange for 2 first-round picks, makes the most sense for Baltimore. This would be wild if this happened. And before this report came out, I was just expecting him to get the regular tag. But the non-exclusive tag could mean that he could go out and talk to teams. He could maybe sign with another team, and he'd basically be a restricted free agent. The Ravens could match any offer that he gets. So this would be wild, and it would certainly lead to teams like the Commanders, maybe the Falcons, the Bucks, some other teams maybe making a run at Lamar Jackson, and probably a pretty serious one. And let's say they offer Lamar $50 million per year based on what the Ravens have indicated so far through contract and negotiations. They're not going to be willing to pay Lamar that. Lamar might be out of town. Where will Jackson play this upcoming season? Go down in the comments section. Let me know. I think it's going to be Atlanta. I really do. It's going to be pretty crazy over on our Falcons channel if that happens. Next QB we're talking about is Jimmy Garoppolo from the San Francisco 49ers. We've heard Kyle Shanahan say that Jimmy G will not be back. And I tend to believe that he's the Jets' backup plan. The Jets have missed on Derek Carr. I think that, again, that Carr was a little bit frustrated by them holding out for Rodgers. And so if they miss on Rodgers, Jimmy G is going to be kind of their plan C, potentially. And that's where I believe Jimmy G is going to end up. Carolina is another team to watch there. And then Daniel Jones with the New York Football Giants. This could get done pretty quickly based on what we're hearing. There have been talks about how much is Daniel Jones going to make. And the clock is ticking on them to get something done because the franchise tag deadline is tomorrow. And I think they want to use that on Saquon, but if they can't get a deal done with Jones, they probably have to use it on Danny Dimes. Here's what Jeremy Fowler said about this situation. The New York Giants met with representatives for quarterback Daniel Jones several times this week. And by the weekend, it sounded as though decent progress had been made toward a long-term contract. The way it was put to me, while a good amount of work still needs to be done, there's at least some optimism about the possibility of getting a deal in place before the Tuesday franchise tag deadline at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Albert Breer saying this. Giants QB Daniel Jones agents from Athletes First are now on the ground in Jersey and headed to meet with the team brass in hopes of pushing a new deal over the goal line. And this is from today, by the way, this tweet. Tomorrow's tag deadline, a soft deadline for this one. So we will see what happens. Now, if they are able to reach a deal, the Giants would instead place the franchise tag on Saquon Barkley. I think it's really important for Joe Shane and Brian Dable to have Jones, have Barkley back. They made a lot of progress as a football team this past season, in large part due to those two individuals. So they want to bring Saquon back. They want to bring Jones back. In order to do that, they probably have to get a deal done with Jones here pretty quickly. Now, will the Giants get a deal done with Daniel Jones? Type Y for yes or type in for a no down in the comment section. Apparently, the Giants offered him $35 to $39 million per year, and Daniel Jones wants $45 million. Daniel Jones, you're not going to get that. I would take the $39 million if I were you. Let's talk about Orlando Brown Jr. This news breaking about an hour or so ago. The Chiefs are not placing the franchise tag on offensive tackle Orlando Brown Jr., so he is set to be a free agent, and he's going to be probably the best left tackle on the market, so he's going to get a lot of interest. And Tony Pollard will not join him in free agency. He has been tagged. The Cowboys have placed the $10 million tag on Tony Pollard. I think that's a win-win because Pollard got injured. I think he lost some value in free agency because of that injury. So if he has another good year next year, he's going to increase his value and become a free agent next year, and you can't complain about $10 million. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep you covered this week, the following week, weeks to come with NFL free agency news and rumors.